And so my favorite topic, networking. How do you grow your business through networking? Do you grow your brand through networking? I think a lot of people, the guys who are not networking and who have not gotten on the bandwagon yet, are thinking, oh, woe's me. It's going to be so hard to grow my business now that COVID's changed everything. I can't do anything unless I'm face to face. You need to stop. So today on 10 at 10, our initial guest, Terrence McCrae. Terrence tried to get in. He's from the Close the Deal show. We had a technical issue, but one of my good time networking buddies who we've been trying to help each other grow our business for like a good while now is going to take over the helms. And we're going to share some things that we've been going through since COVID. So, anyway, forget me. Let's start the show. Good morning, everyone. Paula Madison here, Power Marketing SF. I run an offsite marketing department here in San Francisco and the host of 10 to 10. Today we have Jason Steinberg on, video storyteller extraordinaire. And he's going to share with us today his networking habits, what he's done in the past. Thank you so much for being on the show today, Jason.
Hey, Paula, thanks for calling. It's
Oh,
nothing
no,
like
definitely.
casting a little bit of extra work to jump on your show.
Well, as soon as I can switch you over, of course, it's like I don't know, it's like technical difficulties all around. I'm just gonna let you be the main focus. Why not right now? I love the outdoor spot that you just made for your outdoor office. It looks really cool for the summertime.
Yeah, we're just finishing up some of the interior design and construction. We still have a few things to go, but the desk is up, the Wi-Fi is buzzing, and we've got the power. So, come back in a month or three or four, when we've got the floor finished and the pictures on the wall and shelves and whatnot.
All the pretty stuff, you know.
All the icing on the cake.
Like, well, congratulations. I know during COVID, we've all had to do some very different things and outside the box to put our offices in different areas and just work in ways that we've never worked before, you know? I'm going to throw the first question out there because I want to keep this one tight and really just have people hear our opinions on this. But how did you discover networking, structured networking? Because we know there's another kind of networking where you go and you're just trying to meet a bunch of people, just hand out a bunch of stuff. But structured networking, how did you discover structured networking?
A happy, open-mindedly accident. 2010, when the economy was, last doing its hurrah thing. I was freelancing for, a local newspaper. They renegotiated my contract. I was asking for a pay raise, and they countered with a 33% drop. And I was like, "Ooh, that's cool. Thanks. Peace." And I walked away. And then I'm like, okay, now what am I going to do? Because it was like 90% of my income. And a friend of mine was a realtor. She was like, hey, come to my networking group. Happened to be a BNI. They happened to have a photographer in there already. This is when I just strictly was shooting still photos. And so I went exploring and I met some other groups and I found a little home, and one thing led to another. And, we're still in business.
So really growing your business with other people really became a real thing for you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, especially in 2019 is when it really dawned on me, like just the power of networking. I mean, as a solo entrepreneur, networking sometimes it's a nice break from the office. You get out, you get to talk to people, you get to work on, talking out loud with people and having responses back. You're not just having these internal conversations.
Yeah.
Um, but I was reviewing, my book of business in 2019, and I saw like 9 out of the 10 clients that I had signed that year were referred to me through my various networks.
Mm.
And it just got me believing, like, just it reinvigorated the power of people, and asking for what you want, connecting with people, helping people with what they need, introducing them to somebody that they're looking for or whatnot. Like, just having an open mind, and getting to know people. You
Yeah.
know.
Well, let me ask you a question because there are a lot of networking groups out there. We've both been in the game for a little while now, so we've learned some things. Because I know when I first found, I was so excited to get into a group, so I just boom hopped in. Knowing what we know now, what would be the lessons that you'd give your like it's been what, like 8 years for you now, networking?
Oh
About
no, almost 12 now.
Oh,
20.
12. Oh, so we were like
22.
right, almost right behind each other.
Yeah.
So what would you tell yourself at the starting point, a few things to consider as you're going into networking or
Follow
looking
up.
for groups and things like that?
Follow up. Follow up, and don't try to grab 1,000 million business cards at one particular event.
Yeah.
Don't be a Vegas dealer and just like your business card. Connect with like two or three people, like really connect with them, get to know them, and catch the vibe, see what's what, follow up, stay in contact, and just
Absolutely.
grow that relationship.
Yeah.
That's one thing I wish I would have done in the beginning. I didn't learn
Mhm.
that for a few years afterwards.
Yeah.
It's something that I do now, and it works so much better because that one person is really going to hear you and see you. Whereas you just drop, you throw out a bunch of business cards. I've gone home that night and like, who the hell was this? Like, why did, I mean, I used to try to make notes, but like on a business card, like, how are you going to write on that? Like, where are you going to put that information? And then you bump into somebody who's got like a digital card where you've just scanned it in your phone. Like, it's
Yeah.
tricky. So, I try to just remember to meet with two or three people at an event. Like, really, that's
Yeah.
just, it's
I
easier to
mean,
follow that up.
I gotta say for me that follow-up thing, the pre-work actually, before you even get to the networking meeting, because a lot of these groups have like group lists. You can see who's actually in the group before you even get there, or they send out a list after. So you already know who's there. And so why not do the research on LinkedIn and find out if this person's a match professionally, if there's some similarities, some crossover for referrals. I like to go with like the circle, just circle that photo list basically of who I'd like to speak to. Of course, you want to say hi to as many people so that the brand is visible. But I love what you're saying about like just kind of hone it in and I just want to, I definitely want to do a deep dive with this person, that person, that person. You know, the the little red book of sales, the Jeffrey Gitomer book. I love his quote in it where he says the business day starts the night before. Do the research right ahead
Oh,
of
absolutely.
schedule. Yeah, no,
Absolutely. But
totally.
then, I mean, you can always do the research. You can always be prepared, but be prepared for the unexpected,
Absolutely.
because you never know who might show up or not show up, or, whatever catastrophe or situation, changed up, whatever. But at the same time, like, just going in with an open mind, and, just connecting with people.
Oh no, you said a mouthful right there because I think sometimes professions and as we're having this discussion, one of the takeaways that I really want people to literally hear, the audience out there to hear is be open-minded. I think Jason, you just said a mouthful because
Well, I've had two cups of
you know,
coffee already. I wasn't
oh,
expecting to be doing this. So I was like, I'm going to edit.
but I mean, think about it, because so many people that we've known in networking go in and, well, I only speak to attorneys, I only speak to that person. But the reality is, you don't know who knows who. And there
Right.
may be someone personally they know. Make sure that your message gets as wide as possible. Throw those seeds out. But of course, you want to narrow in as well to those people you definitely know. But don't isolate or remove people from the list because keep an open mind, I think, is a very big one, so what was your initial reaction when because I know that you're in a BNI chapter right now. What was that first initial reaction when you went to that meeting for the first time?
wow, there's other people like me, like just doing a business.
Yeah.
And the thing that I loved about the BNI thing is that you had individuals representing singular professions. There, and through that, they were experts in their own little field. So they had little trials and tribulations to share. And, coming off with a degree and thinking about going back for a master's, it was almost not necessary by being a part of a network like that. It's like because for me, it's been a master's in business school. Like you have all these people with all these experiences sharing, the trials and tribulations, and you can learn from that and it accelerates your learning curve. So it's like it's constant education because everybody has different experiences.
Yeah. Yeah.
While we have many similarities with each other, but everyone's gone, we never know what somebody's gone through until they share that
Absolutely.
stories.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, I'm part of BNI, but I'm also part of Provisors as well. And I have to say, you're right. It's like I paid for a master's and a PhD quite a few times now over the last, 14 years or so. But by being part of this, because you're around people who, I don't know anything about being a lawyer. I don't know anything about being an accountant or a banker, but they educate you so much on those little things that you really wouldn't have seen properly, or they give you a different perspective on it that you wouldn't have even thought about. Because I'm a marketer. This is what I do. I'm a videographer. This is what I know, right? They really break you out of that bubble. And I love the fact that people share. It's like giver's mentality all the way through. I mean, you granted, because I'm hearing that person out there right now. Well, some people are, there's always a some people are, but that percentage is very small, don't you think, when you're looking at structured networking? Because most people show up to do the work, right? Which
Oh,
is
absolutely.
is fantastic. So, what have you learned exactly from networking? Any sharing about like strategies for networking?
um, Persistence, remaining top of mind, consistency, um, and just being part of that organization. See how you can assist. What more can you do? What can you add to that group? How can you become a part of the integral process? Participate.
Participate, participate. I
Because
love that.
if you're visible, you're top of mind. If you're top of mind, you're going to get those calls when somebody, oh, hey, I have this marketing need, or I need this video or these photos. They remember you. They remember that, hey, you're a joy to work with, and you get those calls. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. One of the advice I would give to folks out there, because even in this day and age, I feel like people still don't really, some people get it. And especially now that we're in this video world, how important it is to nail your 30 seconds down. Either get a 30-second infomer. Actually, I'm going to suggest get all three. Get a 30, get a 60, get like a little 90-minute, just in case they give you a little
90
extra.
minute.
I mean, 90-minute, 90-second,
I was going to say,
a minute and a half.
you have a captive audience
I
there.
know, right? Wait. I can't wait to hear what Paula's going to say, right?
Said everyone always.
Always. No, really, but I think you should be prepared with a few ones that they're interchangeable. You can kind of move them around as part of
I
your
mean, yeah,
library, right?
you think of like TV production, you think of commercials in between. I mean, those commercials are 15-second, 30-second, 45-second, like, and if you can't hook them in the first 10 seconds of who you are, how you do what you do,
Mhm.
move on. And sometimes people are busy, they don't have that extra time because, if you're at an event, everybody's tugging at everybody's shoulder, but,
Right. And then everyone's looking at one of these. They're on their cell phones, right? I mean, so it's now you're competing with a cell phone. I remember when I first started in uh the thought line was, it's like 30 seconds. I can't, it's too short a window for me to say everything that I'm doing. And I gotta say, I felt like that was so arrogant when I heard people saying that. I had an old boss who always said, if you can't tell me what you're doing in a small space of time, then you really don't know what it is that you're doing. You now need to impress me with a lot of words and fluff, get to the brass tacks. Like you said, the human attention span is now down to 8 seconds. You're losing them very, very quickly.
Wait, it's that long?
Yeah, I know, right? I think we're below birds, which is 9 seconds. Birds are at 9 seconds. We're at 8.
But they can
It's
fly.
a new research that, well, it's, I think it's about 2 years old now, that Microsoft had performed and found that our attention span was low, you know? So you want to say it and get out of your own ego. It's not about look at me, me. It's about what the information they need to refer you to get them excited. Tell stories, right? I
Stories
think
of
that's
problems you've solved.
absolutely. I love yours because you're always like sharing stories and what you do. And I think those make for like the best 30-second infomercials. Um, there are people who also have taglines. What's your thought about taglines to add on to your 30 at the end, beginning?
I
What do you
think for
think about
some
that?
people it works really well. Maybe I'm just not smart enough to come up with one for
Yeah, me neither.
myself. But I think it's more, for me, it's more reflective of my journalistic nature. I love to share stories. I love to meet new people. And so my breadth of problem solving and storytelling is very diverse. You know,
Yeah.
I should have a niche so I could then develop a tagline, but at the same time,
I
you
mean,
know,
if it makes sense, I think it has to work with your personality too. Like, I mean, not everyone can be Carlos Ramirez, right? His tagline is your friend with benefits, and he provides, he's a benefits person for health insurance for large companies, right? Yeah. Actually, also love Adrian Dale's. When it's critical, think pivotal.
yeah,
Yeah, and as she's a COO, so it's very important because, yeah, when things are going crazy like that, you really need to think. You need to make a big pivot. You need to change everything up. Call
you're
Adrian.
either going to sink or swim, and she's definitely the one to call.
Yeah, and like the for mine, I literally got mine from my client. I was not that bright to come up with it on my own. You know, he's like, I just love that you get me back to the business or running my business. I'm like, ooh, that's a lot of bees. I don't believe in making it up. I believe in listening to the client. But then again, I'm marketing, right?
Right.
So, um, give me 3 tips that you can offer folks today as we're closing out about, if you're making this decision now, thinking, well, I can't do networking. I mean, we're still kind of in COVID. Are we people really meeting? I have to meet face to face to make it happen. Um, what are 3 tips that you can offer about this new digital space that we're on? How have you been working that?
By participating, by tightening up that 30-second infomercial, your elevator pitch, getting that dialed in, and being flexible to use in different scenarios. Um, Follow up,
Yeah,
you know, it's basic, same basic stuff. It's just
yeah,
we're doing it over digital platforms, and you're connecting with people from all around the world. So follow up is key.
yeah.
Get them on your newsletter, get them on your email chain, whatever. Like, just be in
Follow up.
constant contact,
Mm,
for lack of
mm,
better words.
yeah. I have to say, one of the things that I love doing when I'm on a networking meeting, if I meet someone right there, because I know that we're moving at such a different pace nowadays, one of my favorite inventions is Calendly. I love Calendly because I can reach out, like, hey Jason, on the text in the back end, love to connect with you. Can we meet for a 30-minute meeting? Hey, here's my Calendly link. Can you
Right.
schedule something that works for you, and in simultaneously I can have my LinkedIn up and I can check you out, and hey, no, definitely I want to meet with this guy. So I say, the for me, it's definitely the research, but I'm going to agree with you. Consistency and follow up more than anything else. After you're done, do the follow up. Send a little blurb afterwards. I know for BNI, they encourage you to do it when you're face to face, like hand someone something. But now that we're in this digital space, for me, it's like the follow up email, like the same blurb, but like follow up on a, an attachment or an email, just saying, here's a summary. This is me. And all you need to know is you're, you know, making a referral or could make a referral.
Mhm.
Um, as we're closing out, when you meet up if you do meet up either digitally or face to face, do you have a process for how you handle your meetings? Anything that people should know when they finally get a chance to sit down with that potential referral partner?
I have a sheet that I send out that talks about like the past year of clients and how they
I
were
love
referred
that.
and the problems that we solved. Those are things that I share with new networking partners to give them not only an insight of what it is that I do, but maybe they'll see
Mhm.
something in there that will spark something. They're like, oh, I know somebody who does something like this, and they could really use your experience because you've solved a similar problem for them.
Nice.
And it gives them also a point of contact because what you're going to meet them for the first time face to face or back on digital, and it's like, well, what are you going to talk about? You're going to give them your life story, and what are they going to remember?
Mm,
Um, if they have that piece of paper and they were able to, do the homework ahead of time and, glance it over, hopefully they've got a great question, from that.
yeah,
Or maybe, they've prepared a different way, but
love
you're
that.
extending that olive branch to give them, a talking point.
I love that. All right, I'm gonna say as we're closing, I love that, by the way, because I hadn't even thought of that, and I'm stealing it. Thank you, Jason, like it's mine.
Steal
Um,
like an artist.
a little case study. Maybe I'll put your name on the bottom. Format by Jason Steinberg. But while I was in Jamaica on vacation, I met some Canadians there, and their recommendation to me was make a list of 100 referral partners. And they're like, just go through everything that you've done, like, maybe 5 years if you want to go further back, or just people who are always trying with you, put that list together. It's going to take you a little while, but really start looking at the list and what can you do for those people? Because we meet, I mean, over the last 12 years, 14 years for me, we've met a lot of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But some folks have just been great relationships to encounter. They improve you on the mindfulness end. They recommend great books to you. But we may not necessarily be great referral partners. They may even help you to like how you structure your business and give you some sound advice there. But maybe not necessarily a referral partner where you can actually send each other business comfortably. So, I just want those folks on that have given things to me so that I can make sure that I'm not missing anyone and make a valid effort of being grateful, thankful, and following up with them and figuring out what I can do for those folks that has helped my business. And so it's just in case you guys are listening, I think I'm at 38 right now. I'm still doing it every day, putting the list together. But yeah, that's another recommendation that I would make. Definitely make that list of 100 referral partners, actual referral partners, or people that you are trying to stay connected with. So, Jason, thank you so much for being on the show today. Guys, if you don't know Steinberg Imagery, you need to get Steinberg Imagery. Actually, that's his website, by the way. GetSteinbergImagery.com. Reach out to him. He's a phenomenal storyteller. Yes, you could pull out your cell phones. I know there's a lot of stock photos everywhere, but do you know how to take a proper story, or do you need or do you just know how to stitch stock photos together? Very different thing, folks. That's the reason why we sit and watch a movie for 2 hours versus doing it ourselves. So we want to stay engaged. I will drop Jason's link down below. Check out some of his works. Please reach out to him. If you see him at a networking event, say what's up to him for me. As always, if you're interested in strategic marketing and planning, reach out to me at Power Marketing. My continued mission is to introduce you to people like Jason everyday heroes and business experts. We just want to have you up level in this crazy world that we're in. 10 to 10 ears every Thursday, 10 a.m. or a little bit later if there's a technical issue on LinkedIn Live. Thank you guys again. Closing quote
Thanks,
for today.
Paula.
Our reward in life will always be in exact proportion to the amount of consideration that we show to other people. Earl Nightingale. Thank you. Thanks, Jason. Continue your day, everyone. Mwah. Thank you so much. Bye, Mr. Jason.
Bye, Miss Starbucks.